Hello again from Evolutionary TV. I'm your host, Terry Earthwind Nichols, along with the fabulous
Linda Vetros Nichols.
and we're back again. Today we're talking about throw out your goals. Well, what's meant by throw out your goals? What crazy thing is that? Well, we're going to talk about goals and deadlines and quotas and achievement today, and what you should think about in addition to missed deadlines, etc. Linda?
Yeah, absolutely. That was the number one thing for me is learning to set a goal, and then that was great. It's just I didn't meet the goal, and then I felt lousy, and then I'd set another goal, and then I wouldn't get stuff done, and I'd just start procrastinating. And so I haven't been big on goals for a long time, but never knew what there was for an alternative until I was in my 60s going, forget it, I'm just throwing this to the wind. And what is it that gives me pleasure? And what is it that I really want to do? And at that point, I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I just knew what I didn't want to do. And I started there. So I'm really grateful that Terry created his vision strategy roadmap, because that's all based on pleasure and where do you ultimately want to go? Where do you ultimately see yourself, right? And then you can just work backwards from there. So I've had a lot of success in even taking clients through it. And so I'm glad you're going to be talking about that today.
So let's talk about that, okay? So everybody's had goals. They've been under deadlines, quotas, those kinds of things. Specifically, you people that have had work in the sales industry, where you may even have goals and quotas within HR and other different places. But today we're talking about entrepreneurs and living under deadlines and going to coaching conference after coaching conference, figuring out these great goals for the year and missing them, and then doing it again the next year. Well, that's kind of repetitive, and it's certainly depressing. So what do we mean by goals versus achievement? Linda alluded to that just a moment ago. Well, we all know goals, it's quite common for most of us to miss goals and deadlines, etc., because life happens. A lot of different things go on that keeps us under that shell of, I got to do this, I got to do this. Well, that's bad on your health. Now let's flip that. When was the last time you really achieved something, and how did you feel when you achieved it? You felt great. You were pumped. You knew you were on fire. You could go forward and conquer, so to speak. And that's what we're teaching here today, is achievement-based system as opposed to the goals-based system. Now, pass it over to my assistant, Laba.
The proof is in the pudding, because like back in 1998, 96, I believe, I started writing a book, finished it in 98 and published it. And in between that, I had started another book, and that didn't get published until just a couple of years ago. So, to go from like one book published to, would it be like a total of the last 3 years, 18 books written and published. That's huge. And I just did that off of pleasure, right?
Right.
And I was achieving.
Let's
Finally.
Let's talk about Evolutionary Healer. When we go into a conference, we don't goal ourselves with X amount of money or X amount of new clients. We allow that to float. We want the achievement of the connection at the conference, because the goal is in the follow-up. When you can talk personal and they can become confidentially open to you, that's when you really start putting things together, and you're growing a relationship. And we teach relationship marketing, Linda.
Right. It almost sounded like you said goal, and I know you said gold. The gold is in the follow-up, definitely. We turned a $17,000 investment into $48,000 in 3 weeks and $68,000 in 2 months after the event. So yes. Definitely.
Going straight off of achievement. We're achieving each new client, each new coaching, CR process clients, etc. We achieved and celebrated each of them independently. We even have a special song by ZZ Top we play every time we get a new client. We celebrate them coming aboard and trusting us.
Mm-hmm.
So what's achievement got to do with what we're talking about today? Well, for some of you, the Vision Strategy Roadmap is not new. It's been out for a couple of months. But let's talk about it a little bit more now. The roadmap is about creating a vision. Now, it could be a vision for launching a book. It could be a vision for launching a new program in your coaching service. It can be a vision for you and your company in the future, not the end of next year, in the future. It has no date, okay? Then you take that vision way out there and you create a roadmap to that vision, starting at the vision, working backwards, putting stops along the way. When you're going to grandma's house, you may need gas. You stop, get gas, right? That's an achievement. So we work backwards to the day you're going to start. And then we put 4 tasks to achieve that stop inside of each stop that you do. Once you finish the 4 stops, or the 4 achievements, task rather, and then you hop in, you finish the stop. Now you celebrate that you did it. Not only do you celebrate, but you analyze what went right and what went wrong, and what can you take to the next stop, Linda?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so to maybe put that into like realistic context, so I was talking to somebody who her ultimate was to be speaking on stage, and then I pinned it down to, okay, what type of a stage, and it was in a church, and how many people? 3,000. I'm like, are there churches that hold 3,000? Well, yeah, mega church. Like, oh, okay, and you know some of them? Yep. And so then it was like work backwards. Okay, so if you're speaking to 3,000, how many might you be speaking to before that 3,000 people gig? And it was like 2,000, and back from that 1,000, and then in the hundreds, and then even back to like mother and daughter banquet. And she said, well, I'm not a mother of a daughter. And I said, all the better, because you're going to bring in a whole different perspective. And so we had a lot of fun with that. And so what Terry is saying is those stops were like going back, back, back. There's also within a stop what is, going to get you to that, get you through that stop. So like when you get gas, you also go to the bathroom. There's all these little pieces to a stop. And so if the piece was, say, the mother-daughter banquet, then it'd be like, okay, and then what needs to get done? Like what are you doing just before the banquet? And what are you doing before that and before that? So it's like, think of a friend who might get you into the church, or maybe it's your church. And, what are the next steps? Maybe it's even creating a speaker one sheet. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Vision Strategy Roadmap. You can contact us here. You can go to evolutionaryhealer.com and hover your mouse over the top of the coaching area, and you will see Vision Strategy Roadmap pop up. Click on it. Go in there, read a little bit more about it. Download your own free copy to get started. And there's a way to reach out to us, ask some questions, or perhaps you want to have a call for some clarity. Queen of Clarity sitting here. She has a free clarity session that at the end of this session, it's amazing how much clearer you are. Any final thoughts here?
Well, if you want the clarity session, you can go to my website, which is lindavetras-nichols, lindavetras-nichols.com. And the roadmap is at evolutionaryhealer.com.
So that's it for today. We went a little bit over, but we had a lot to say. We'll see you again next time.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.